You're watching TVC Breakfast. With the coronavirus pandemic comes the threat to food security. In fact, according to the World Food Programme, it could double the number of people suffering acute hunger, pushing it to more than 250 million by the end of 2020. The coronavirus pandemic is now impacting global food systems, disrupting agricultural value chains and posing risks to household food security. Now, joining me now is Public Affairs commentator Smart Adesoye. Good morning and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Yes, good morning and thank you.
The World Food Programme is painting a very grim picture across the world with regards to food security. Where does Nigeria stand as we speak?
Well, it's a global village, and whatever affects anywhere in the world will also definitely affect us in Nigeria. First, on food security, to a large extent, I'll say if we have a government that has been proactive, and if we have a government that follow up its policy, perhaps we in Nigeria will probably be exempted. Now, the president sometime during the Salah, during the Ramadan, whatever, called that Nigerian farmers should enhance their outputs. However, presently, farmers are running into millions of naira lost. How do I mean? Before the pandemic, I have a friend that has a farm that has a poultry farm. Presently, he has well over 20 tons of chicken in his refrigerator. It could not sell. It could not sell because the hotels and all the eateries that takes from him, he could not supply them. Farmers have been burying their eggs. And you see, all this is a huge loss. By the time we get out of this pandemic, most of these people might not get back to work. You see, what the government could have done is to encourage the farmers. Look, where have you made lost? Where can we assist you? And you know, pandemic is not covered by insurance mostly. And most companies that even took up insurance, perhaps because pandemic is not under that clause, they'll probably be making an huge loss.
If I may interrupt your line of thought, when the government shut the borders, wasn't it a way of encouraging farmers to take up the challenge?
Fantastic. When government shut the borders, it was a fantastic one, and you will recall that in one of my appearances on your station, I have applauded the federal government and for closing down the borders, most especially to the importation of food, and saying that if you want to bring in food, then bring it through the land border, and most especially closing it mostly to the livestock production. So that has helped farmers in Nigeria. But presently, even those that have, they could not sell. And since they could not sell, they've borrowed money, they've sold properties to invest in livestock farming. Right now, they are having problem because most of those items, they cannot go back. Poultry farmers have been burying eggs. They've been burying eggs for the past 3 months, running into millions of naira. By the time they get back to business, they might not have money to continue their business. So I think where government should have looked at it more, is that how do we assist these farmers that have made lost? Like a good example now, in my own aspect, I'm into piggery. For the past 3 months, I've not sold, and because most of those guys that come from Niger Delta to buy our pigs so that they can process to pork, they could not come because they will tell you that it is expensive transporting from Lagos back to Niger Delta. That they have over 100 police checkpoints. Security checkpoints, and that at every checkpoint they collect at least between 1,000 and 1,500 naira at every checkpoint. By the time you look at that, it has added to their cost, and there is no way they will sell and break even. Because of that reason, now they've stopped coming. We have not been able to make sales for the past 3 months, and we've been feeding our animals. I feed with almost about 520,000 every month. Right now,
so the president's demand that farmers perhaps increase their capacity is going to be a Herculean task. That's what you're saying.
It is going to be. Even most farmers, especially those in the livestock, will probably not get back to farming, except if a miracle happens somewhere. So if the president is saying that, perhaps we should have, you see, one thing I will not take away from President Buhari is that when it comes to farming, he has been very supportive of farming in his pronouncements. But in the implementation, those that are supposed to implement it, they are not implementing it at all. And that I go to Bank of Agric, ask them the last time they gave out Agric loan, and ask them at what percentage. So just to quickly say this, Bank of Agric gave out loan at 12%. At 12%, how would you operate? And they also gave a moratorium of 3 months to farmers. I have a typical one which I even want to take up immediately after this pandemic is over, because I cannot imagine where Bank of Agric will be giving out loan at 12% and 3 months moratorium to farmers. Please tell me what that person will do within 3 months, and not even during this time of lockdown. So you see, why we must commend Mr. President for what he's doing, for trying to make sure that Nigeria is self-sufficient in agriculture. But I think we should focus more on the policy implementators, starting from CBN.
How about the Anchor Borrowers Program? Did you ever benefit from that?
The Anchor Borrower Program is not really. You see, what I will probably want your organization to also do is that, look, go and do a cover-up story and see if these things are really working. Go to the farm settlement, go to the real farmers, and see if they are really having access to these things. Sometimes Shehu Sani said, look, that he commended Mr. President, at least for the Anchor Borrower, whatever. He said, but those getting the loan are not the real farmers. Such statements should be investigated. You see, we have fine policies. We have so many packages for farmers, but are farmers getting it? It will take you almost a year to process an agric loan in Nigeria. Go and ask from of course, they came up with the nasal microfinance. Ask how many people have, ask how long it takes to process the nasal microfinance loan. It will take you close to 8 months. So the COVID-19 intervention fund, as announced by CBN, let NASA or CBN itself say, please, these are the list of those we have given, and go and investigate if they are the real farmers. They gave this policy. It is supposed to mitigate. I have borrowed close to 2 million to feed my animals because I want to keep them safe, and because I will always sell. But ordinarily, and I've been borrowing it from friends using goodwill. Right now, I tell you, if that goodwill is overstretched, that means I will have nowhere to go.
All right.
And I cannot even turn to I cannot even turn to the bank. And yet, you want me to increase my production? How would I increase it at this point?
All right, Smart Akpejoye, let's leave the conversation here for now. Thank you so much for speaking with us. It's time. You're watching TVC Breakfast. With the coronavirus pandemic comes the threat to food security. In fact, according to the World Food Program, it could double the number of people suffering acute hunger, pushing it to more than 250 million by the end of 2020. The coronavirus pandemic is now impacting global food systems, disrupting agricultural value chains, and posing risks to household food security. Joining me now is Public Affairs commentator Smart Akpejoye. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me.
The president has said that there would be no more importation of food items. As it stands, can we survive locally without any importation of food items?
Yes, Nigeria, we can survive without, in the first place, is a misplacement for a country like Nigeria importing food, because we have no business importing any food item whatsoever at all from anywhere in the world. First, we'll look at what are the things that makes agricultural thrive. We'll look at the land mass. We'll look at our soil. We have one of the best soil in the world. Also, then again, we have the population, that is the human capital. But what is it that we don't have? We have not had a government that has coordinated all that we have and harnessed our potentials towards making Nigeria food sufficient.
When you
we
say
have no business at all.
How do you mean? The government has been talking about diversifying the economy and focusing on agriculture.
There are different things between talking and perhaps implementing what you say. I'm into farming, and I'm into livestock farming, and I belong to so many organizations, so many platforms that we are livestock farmers. I will tell you, after this pandemic, so many livestock farmers perhaps will not be able to get back into business because of the fact that, look, the pandemic came in, they were not prepared for it. Now, in the past 3 months, most suppliers, most farmers have been burying their eggs. They've been burying their eggs. That means they've been burying millions of naira because there is nowhere to supply to. Eateries, hotels, confectionery organizations that buy their products, they've been locked down. They are not operating equally. They cannot pass their food to the market. What would they do? And they cannot keep it for too long. You cannot keep an egg more than 3 weeks. You probably have to dispose it. So they've been disposing eggs in millions. Also, the poultry farmers. These what we call boilers. Boilers cannot take more than 7 weeks, 8 weeks to slaughter, to process. If you process it, you have to push it to the market, but they have no market to push it. They have no market to push it to. So what have they been doing? That means they've been burning it off, dash it out where they could, and if they could not dash it out, they'll probably have to go and bury it. So you can see the millions of naira that each livestock farmers have been doing.
All right, so obviously there are an array of challenges faced by farmers at this point. But if we have to begin to reposition the agricultural sector, especially focusing on farmers, where do we begin? And how do we bring in technology, seeing that the pandemic seemed to have changed our lives, to focus now on the use of technology? Now,
where do we begin? Where we should begin is that, in the first place, we should probably stop this talking and go to implementation. We must have a bank of agric. We must have a rebate of the bank of agric, not the present bank of agric that we have that are giving loan at 12%. We must have a bank of agric that we give loan at least maximum 6%, 7%. We must have a bank of industry. You see, first, the bank of industry, they are doing very well in their aspects. What we probably need is a synergy between the bank of industry and the bank of agric. Now, the NASAL loan, the NASAL microfinance bank, created by the CBN under this administration, they are doing, of course, it's a fantastic idea having a NASAL microfinance bank. But then, when you look at the time processing loan application, it will take you close to about 12 months, 8 months to process a loan application. Now, we probably need to bridge this, probably make it within a month and 2 months, you should be able to have access to soft loan. And then, where we now have the government now to follow up. It is not just giving out loan. They should probably also follow up. Yes, we're giving you this loan. How do we assist you to move your product to the next level? So presently, the challenges, it's more in the area of the government. CBN, it's not just giving that, well, we have set aside 50 billion for farmers for this. It is setting aside the money and making it available. If you ask NASA today or the CBN governor, please, of the 50 billion intervention, how much have you given? I'm sure they've not given a dime. And we are at the 4th month of the lockdown. So we can see the problem we are having.
All right, Smart Akpeju, thank you so much for speaking with us.